Today, the actual size of the silver market, according to Bloomberg, is $5 trillion. 5 trillion divided by 20 billion, which is the physical market, equals 250. 250 times 20, which is silver's spot price, equals $5,000 an ounce. Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. So now let's talk about $5,000 silver and how realistic this is. I know what you're thinking, Slayer. That is insane. That's not realistic. But here's the thing. Every time someone throws out a forecast, they're going off speculation with unknown variables. But the case that he points out is going off actual numbers that make sense. He does say, this doesn't mean silver will hit $5,000, but technically it should be if it wasn't so manipulated over the last several decades. So I want to break down this article because it is very, very interesting and it's important on several notes, especially if we do consider the COMEX collapsing and someday price manipulation not being able to overweigh the fundamentals, which is supply and demand in the COMEX. So I really do want you guys to just listen. We're not saying silver will hit $5,000, but he's saying it technically should be if things were fair. So with that said, I'll link this article in the description. I really do love this stuff because when you break down these numbers and once you realize just how much physical silver there is compared to digital, it gives you a better idea of why I say if you can't hold it, you don't own it. With that said, let's talk silver. The case for $5,000 silver. Yes, $5,000. If the price of silver were based directly on the real physical silver market, silver's price should be at least $5,000 an ounce. I'm not saying the price of silver will reach $5,000 an ounce. I'm just saying that the actual physical silver spot price is not only extremely undervalued, but that is an illusion compared to the real value of an ounce of physical silver, since it is totally disconnected from reality. Let me explain further. And I love this article because he brings points into play and he actually does a mathematical equation to show why it should be this. He brings things into play that nobody else talks about. Yesterday, I made a video sharing Ted Butler talking about COMEX corruption and how manipulated and how deceiving and how truly criminal these people in the COMEX are and why they should all be in jail, and also why silver's price has nothing to do with spot price. To put it in simpler terms, no matter who says that 1 ounce coin is worth what is irrelevant because the 1 ounce of silver inside of it is the coin's true value, not the price tag attached to it. Once you realize that, you start to get a better idea. The dollar's lost 98% of its original purchasing power. How can you connect an ounce of silver to something that's endlessly deflating, just burning away? You can't. And if you try to do that, then you're going to be pushing silver into a category that it truly isn't, because it's intrinsical. It has intrinsical value. So anyways, let's keep moving on. A price of $5,000 may seem totally crazy, but who can pretend knowing exactly how an ounce of silver is worth after decades of manipulation and turning real investors' demand from the physical market to the paper one, and years of exponential monetary printing by all the planet's central banks? This is an important part, the physical versus paper market difference. The actual spot price for silver has no real value and is not legitimate when we seriously compare the real physical market to the paper market and its myriad of financial derivatives. According to an article, and here's the mathematical equation. According to an article by Bloomberg, which has always been a reliable source with their published data, the size of the global annual silver market is equal to $5 trillion. According to a recent interview with David Morgan, the annual physical silver production is roughly 1 billion ounces. And it's actually lower than that. It's around 850 to 900 million ounces, give or take. With silver trading around $20 currently, this represents a $20 billion market for silver. So the size of the physical silver market is of $20 billion. Remember that. 250 to 1 leverage. This makes for a 250 to 1 ratio between the paper market and the physical market. Meaning for every ounce of physical silver, there are 250 ounces of paper silver circulating in several financial products. In other words, only one contract or certificate issued out of 250 could be convertible into physical silver, and that is the market being leveraged 250 to 1. Slayer, wait, you're saying that every ounce of silver I own, 250 other people theoretically think they own that same ounce on the COMEX, but it's not really theirs? Yeah. Go grab an ounce of silver, hold it in your hand. 250 other people think that they own that same exact ounce, but they don't. And that's why, like I said earlier, if you can't hold it, you don't own it. The multiplication of those financial products on silver has skirted investors' demand from the real physical market, thus creating a virtual silver supply without putting any pressure on the physical silver market, a roundabout way of keeping the price low. If now, as the regulation agencies are claiming, the goal is to create a new fixing for silver that would better reflect the physical silver market, notably from pressure coming from countries like China, wishing to have their say in the fixing of precious metals prices. The leverage between paper silver and physical silver is at risk of radically evolving, especially when you incorporate the BRICS nations with all of this now, and China being the biggest consumer of silver. Let's hypothesize what the silver price would be directly based on the physical silver market. Here we go. This is the mathematical equation that technically, when you look at everything, all the realistic numbers, right? Numbers don't lie. You can speculate, you can throw an opinion, but that is no proof, no fact. I'm a realist. This is proof. This is actual numbers. Today, the actual size of the physical silver market, according to Bloomberg, is $5 trillion. Not physical. The whole silver market's $5 trillion. 5 trillion divided by 20 billion, which is the physical market, is 250. Like we said, the 250 to 1 ratio. 250 times 20, which is silver spot price, is $5,000 an ounce. That is an actual and factual mathematical equation. Conclusion. Every investor holding silver in the form of financial products without possibility of verifying the physical existence of their investment should ask the question as to what would happen when more holders of said products will ask for physical delivery. And that's exactly what happened in 1980. And look at the nickel market, same thing happened. See, the Hunt brothers, they bought, these 3 billionaire brothers, they bought billions of dollars worth of silver in 1980. On the COMEX. They tried to turn all those contracts into physical delivery, which would have exposed the corruption in silver's price and how little silver there really is compared to on these exchanges online. So what did that do? One, it pushed silver to the highest price it's ever been still till this day. And two, the government freaked out, panicked, and banned silver on the spot, basically throwing in this law called Silver Rule 7, which crashed silver's price back down to where even lower than where it started. So we know this isn't a conspiracy. We don't have to bust out a tinfoil hat. And actually, the only people that should be busting out tinfoil hats are the ones that are throwing out assumptions without having any numbers or data to prove behind what they're saying. And like I say, let me reiterate, I'm not saying silver will reach $5,000, but technically, when you look at the numbers, it should be. But we don't know because, like he said, years and years and years, decades and decades of manipulation. How can you tell? Who can pretend knowing exactly how an ounce of silver is worth after decades of manipulation and turning real investors' demand from the physical market to the paper one, and years of exponential monetary printing by all the planet's central banks? How can you tell? And another way is the gold to silver ratio. Silver outperforming gold again? Silver definitely could. And I always say, I think silver will take on a life of its own. Regardless of what stock market volatility is doing, silver will do what it does. Regardless of what the dollar index is doing, silver will do what it does. Things that are heavily correlated to it. Regardless of what gold is doing, silver will do what it does because it has different uses beyond all these other things. Why is the gold to silver ratio 80-1 when silver is 80 times more useful than gold? Gold sits around in jewelry and, coins and bars and necklaces and earrings, a little bit in electronics. I used to scrap gold out of laptops and cell phones, but nowhere near, not even close to silver's industrial use. So why is gold so much more valuable? And that's a man-made ratio because thousands of years, as silver's been used as money for at least 5,000 years since the beginning of man, as we can record back, it's been around 8-1 because that's the ratio it comes out of the Earth's crust. 16-1 towards the end. For thousands of years still, we're talking about thousands of years. In between, it was 8-1, then grew to 16-1 as silver kind of became, or gold became more royal. And it wasn't until 1930 when it changed from 16-1 to 75-1, as you can see right here in this graph. And that's when FDR got in office and basically just single-handedly devalued silver. But some say even earlier, it was 2.5-1. 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. And that was when they thought silver was magical. That's when they realized silver is different than any other element on the periodic table. It responds to other elements like no other metal. It is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity. Nothing performs as well as silver does. It can purify water. It has antimicrobial properties, so it would purify their water back in the day. You drop silver in milk, it keeps the milk fresh longer. Silver is magical, and that's when they understood that. Before, because think about, having something that can purify your water compared to gold what does gold do for them? What does gold do for them? Silver is much more useful. And even today, why would we rather have gold than silver when silver is what we need to make electric vehicles and solar panels? Silver is helping the world go green for global warming, climate change, zero net emissions by the year 2050. Gold isn't going to get us there. Silver is. So why is gold so much more valuable? It's just perspective. It's royalty. But silver is much more useful. Once you understand that, then you understand why my name is Silver Slayer and not Gold Guy. Not Gold Guru, like David Morgan's called the Silver Guru. It's Silver Guru. It's, there's reasons why it's called Wall Street Silver and not Wall Street Gold, or the Silver Institute, or the silver stacking community being so much bigger than gold. There's reasons for this, and once you understand that, once you understand silver's true value versus, more importantly, the dollar's true value, then you can separate the two and realize spot price is irrelevant. And like the last article was saying, how could we pretend knowing exactly how an ounce of silver is worth after decades of manipulation and turning real investors' demand from the physical market to the paper one after years of exponential monetary printing by all the planet's central banks? How? You can't. And if you think that manipulation's a conspiracy, you could throw your tinfoil hat away because 3 of JP Morgan's employees got sent to prison. Well, 2 for manipulation. Actually, it's called spoofing, which I'll talk about in a second. The third one was racketeering or RICO charges. Spoofing is when you go on an exchange, and this is what they've done. They've gotten caught. We've shown in the WhatsApp messages between these shady people. It's disgusting because they are just stealing people's money and using the market or people's vulnerability or perception to deceive these people. They will go on these exchanges and place thousands upon thousands of buy or sell orders, and then cancel the order before it goes through, right before it goes through. So all these other people on that exchange think that a whole bunch of people are buying up silver. The volume is false because they don't know those orders are going to be canceled. And then that affects the exchange, and they will push it in however way they want, and then they will profit from that. The thing is you're allowed to cancel buy or sell orders, so how can you catch someone with the ill intent to do that? Because they could just say, well, I canceled it because X, Y, and Z. So you have to look at patterns. And they got a $920 million fine. 2 of their employees did get sentenced to prison. It was an ongoing case for the last couple of years, and they finally did. The case is over. They got sent. I think the one guy's name is Michael Nowak. I know for sure. Forget the other guy's name, but yeah. So, what do you think of this article? I try to reiterate. I'm not saying silver's price will go to 5,000, but it technically should be when you look at the numbers. But what do you think silver's price will be? Realistically, what do you think it would be? Is it triple digits, quadruple digits? And more importantly, why? A lot of people will say silver will never hit $100, but explain why then. I could say silver will hit $20,000, but if I don't say why, am I really saying much? No. Just like this person could have said $5,000 silver, but if they wouldn't have thrown in this multiplication, if he wouldn't have thrown in this equation, then he wouldn't have been saying much. So I love when you guys say something, but explain why, break it down. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you guys didn't know, I'm doing a giveaway on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much for sticking around. I post daily videos every single day, giving you the newest, latest, freshest, most up-to-date, recent information in the world of precious metals, more specifically silver. And now you know why it's silver. A lot of people ask, why silver or not gold? I didn't just randomly pick silver out of a hat. Gold still does have its benefits. You could fit $100,000 worth of gold in a shoebox. Actually, probably more than that. You can't fit $100,000 worth of silver in a shoebox. So if you are someone who's investing lots of money, there are benefits to gold. That's why we always say diversify, but silver does have more potential in the long run, so you should still focus on silver. But I have a couple ounces of gold as well, and I might give one away, actually, for one of my giveaways coming up. So another reason to subscribe, but mainly you should be subscribed because I post daily videos. That's where the good stuff is. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, then please like the video. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.